Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 457 based on novel. So let's start. The body of the demon whale is still constantly rising into the sky, but his eyes have been staring at the purple crystal block in front of Xiao Yan. From there, an ancient wave swept out, and even a trace of the vast aura permeating the long river of time and space actually caused respect yourself. 9 suns. Zuna took advantage of the opportunity and lost her mind, snorted coldly. The majestic golden flame scorching sun roared away, completely igniting the entire void, buying time for Xiao Yan. The space was violently distorted, and the dim void had become extremely bright. Zuna's attack had completely blocked this space. It seemed that any spatial fluctuation could not escape the joint of the 9 flames of the golden crow. Xiao Yan's face was gloomy. The purple holy flame crystal on the palm of his hand unexpectedly emitted bursts of dazzling light, and then slowly fell to the ground, only to see the demon whale roaming the sky, and a huge ghost whale phantom shrouded in the sky. Xiao Yan, a shock wave swept out. Goddess Yaoji's things should be good. Holy flame origin technique. Xiao Yan stared at the demon whale coldly. After the demon whale took off, the blood-colored shadow fell slightly, and the terrifying pressure of the collapse of the void actually caused Xiao Yan's transformed skin to shrink one after another, directly comprehending the origin of Wulu Zi Lingyan, trying unleash the holy flame origin technique. After a short while, Xiao Yan's edge and corners were filled with killing intent. He held the purple holy flame crystal in both hands, and the burning art in his body began to run, and countless fighting chi poured into it. Fall down, ants. The whale shadow slowly fell, and the entire space violently erupted with an extremely terrifying bloodlight, and a space crack burst open, vaguely forming a bottomless black hole. In the black hole, the blood-colored whale shadow was suspended in it, and the evil bloodlights around it swept out like a storm. They raged wildly, swallowing and absorbing all the power in this world. Brother Xiao Yan. The golden crow transformed by the fire of the 9 holy flames stubbornly resisted, but almost instantly, there were countless cracks in the golden crow's body, big and small. He leaned towards Xiao Yan and tried his best to cover the two of them with his lower body, trying to lighten some of the burden on Xiao Yan. At this moment, the purple holy flame crystal in Xiao Yan's hand trembled abruptly, and a purple elk figure with an ethereal aura and tyrannical aura appeared first. Just as the purple elk appeared, the 2 fluffy antlers swayed, and a layer of purple flame mist was scattered to protect the two, and then the purple flame elk's feet shook slightly. Whoa! Circles of purple mist spread out, and immediately countless rich auras of life slanted down from the purple flames, and a figure of a pharaoh-like woman appeared on the elk. Nature's whisper. The Xian elk looked up at the falling black hole storm and the blood-colored whale shadow in it, and shouted loudly. A circle of life breaths centered on the Xian elk, whistling completely on this messy ground. At the same time, the green ancient trees of life, the colorful flower plants, etc., turned out to be growing savagely here. In the blink of an eye, on this filthy land that has been invaded by outsiders for countless years, green plants with sacred aura appear out of thin air. As soon as it appeared, the trees swayed, the stamens fluttered in the wind, and a feeling of comfort spread throughout the body, making Xiao Yan indescribably comfortable. Boom boom boom. The chanting of countless plants continued for a while, and the brilliant green energy quietly left from above the plants, forming a purple fire in the air. There is some kind of ancient fluctuation mixed in the fire. The power of the goddess Yaoji. Witchcraft. The seed of life. Boom. The next moment, the seed of life and the black hole storm came into contact with each other, and the deafening violent energy fluctuations swept in, filling the whole world with a sense of laxity. As for the blood-colored whale shadow in the black hole storm, it actually slowly shattered under the oppression of the power of the seed of life. How come? Seeing that his strongest blow was so unbearable, the demon whale's eyes contained endless doubts. Holy mark! Xiao Yan roared coldly, and the glass-colored flames split apart in an instant, forming 5 flame runes of different colors, quietly entrenched beside Xiao Yan. Impossible. Why, are you able to condense the holy pattern? Isn't the method of condensing the holy pattern already lost? 5 holy patterns appeared, and the arrogant voice of the demon whale actually became trembling. Shameless old guy. This is the retribution you deserve. The space shuttle handprint is displayed, and the dragon claws shrouded by the 5 holy patterns pierce through the void, as if even the soul can be completely crushed. The dragon's claws fell, hitting the belly of the demon whale accurately. At the same time, a gleaming bronze demon core slowly fell out. Is this the demon whale stone? Although I was attacked by the power of evil, it was too simple for me. Xiao Yang grabbed the bronze-colored magic core tightly, and the thick black gas on it was like an ogre, madly biting towards Xiao Yang's body. The glass-colored flame completely evaporated. Without the support of the demon core, the life force in the demon whale quickly disappeared, and the huge body fell directly on the ground, stirring up countless dust. Until it fell, it didn't understand what happened. Wulu Zilingyan has only been controlled by the goddess Yaoji for generations. There are too many goddess Yaoji's power in the holy flame, and the original technique of holy flame is also mixed with the power of Yaoji's witchcraft, so this big guy died extremely wrongly. Confirm speechless. Zuna, go. Xiao Yang wiped out all the evil forces on the demon whalestone, and after confirming that he was speechless, he hurriedly held Zuna's jade hand, and shot at the Wufu with soaring speed. Because at this time, the void above the huge body of the demon whale was distorted, and a figure like a few thin branches could be vaguely seen. Even if this figure had not yet fully formed, Xiao Yang could smell an extreme heart palpitation. In addition, this is an extraterritorial territory, you can know the reason without making any guesses. I am afraid that is the real powerhouse among the extraterritorial evil races. Evil god. Using the soul power to isolate the holy flames and enter our foreign territory, Jiyu Kuan's ability to kill the demon king is really great. A lazy voice sounded, but that power even shook the world. In an instant, the barrier formed by the power of the soul and the holy flames around the void shattered, and the endless tide of darkness filled it up in an instant. That majestic oppression actually caused Xiao Yang and Zuna's blood to freeze instantly die. The thin figure jumped up in the air, then stretched out his slender fingers and pointed towards the escape path of Xiao Yang and the two. Boom! The void collapsed directly, and an aura of death lingered in my heart. Clan marks, annihilate. Xiao Yang's whole body exploded, the blue dragon scales stood upright, and a vertical eye like an eye opened between his eyebrows, instantly resisting the blow from the Xeon. Oh! It's actually a member of the Xiao family. The thin figure's gaze suddenly turned, and then the lazy gaze was filled with extreme anger. Hulala! At this moment, the golden paper appeared automatically, directly pulling out a crack in the Wufu, and Xiao Yang and the two received it instantly. Humph! Since you have come to save people from outside our territory, you have to prepare for the river of blood. Take out the pure heart. This time, let these guys understand that the majesty outside the domain cannot be challenged. The icy voice resounded throughout the world, killing intent flooded, and gloom filled the entire profound ghost realm. Brother Xiao Yang, are you alright? Zuna looked at Xiao Yang, who was close at hand, with a very worried expression, and said with concern. The strength of the person who made the last shot just now was too appalling, and he didn't even notice it. If it wasn't for Xiao Yang's warning, I'm afraid. It's okay, let's go. Next is the highlight of this time, the Wufu. Xiao Yang swept away the worries in his heart. Now there are evil clans outside the evil god realm guarding him. I am afraid that he can only make plans after exploring here. If things really got to the worst stage, I'm afraid I can only fight back. Although the 6 holy flames and the devil's cube, although they may not be able to fight against the evil gods, they still have a chance to escape. 10 minutes later, the light curtain disappeared in front of them, and the two seemed to be intertwined in a layer of extremely thick ability barrier. Wufu, here we are. However, when the feeling of the enchantment just appeared, I suddenly felt a powerful oppression coming from the depths of my heart. Under this terrible oppression, it seemed that even the core of the soul within the body became sluggish. Is this the so-called Wufu? Looking up, he was at a loss, and his body couldn't stop shaking. It's so spectacular, so shocking. The mansion in front of you cannot be called a mansion at all, because the entire mansion is like a messy void with no rules, and at first glance, there is no end in sight, only in the barren void, the broken rock peaks are floating in the sky, and there are paths on them. There are many old, dilapidated palaces. Above the earth, a dawdling white bone and a conspicuous 1,000-meter-long fissure circling, and the scene that took place above the sky, I am afraid that an extremely terrifying battle broke out here. What level of battle did this military mansion go through, and why did it shatter into such a state? Looking at the broken ground and the huge palaces and peaks falling in the sky, Xiao Yang frowned, his expression extremely solemn. Zuna, do you know who Zhu Yuan's wife is in this martial arts mansion? She is a rare and unparalleled powerhouse to be able to go out of the territory for the sake of her already rosy face. There was some respect in Xiao Yang's voice, but the core inscription of divine movement in his body gave off a feeling of dryness, which was extremely strange. I don't know, it seems that there is no record of this woman in the world. I have checked some ancient books secretly, but there is no record. There are even torn marks on the ancient books, as if they were intentionally erased. Zuna shook her head. She was also curious about this woman who was deeply loved by Zhu Yuan of the Wufu. With so many peaks and rocks, and so many palaces, how can we find the main hall? The other powerhouses who entered here should have dispersed their actions. After a while, Xiao Yang's soul power leaned out, trying to inspect the interior of these broken palaces, but found nothing. It seems that here, his soul power is useless and useless. Bang bang bang! After the blink of an eye, the golden paper in Xiao Yang's arms swept out, and the golden light all over his body expanded and shattered, and strands of golden light began to converge under Xiao Yang's feet, forming a space channel that was several meters wide. The space channel is deep, and it connects to the depths of the shattered Wufu void as soon as it emerges. Go! After thinking for a while, Xiao Yang took Zuna and stepped on the golden light passage, and walked towards the depths of the sky. The battlefield. Wu Pavilion. While walking along the way, I actually saw the conspicuous words in the palaces of the mountain peaks. At this time, there were obviously many figures in these broken halls. At the end of the passage, an illusory transparent figure stood proudly, as if waiting for something. Have the people from Darkiangong finally come? When Xiao Yang and the two figures approached, this stalwart figure turned his head slightly and spoke calmly. The almost transparent body made it impossible to see the specific outline of his face at all, but when the person spoke, the vast coercion of heaven and earth swept over his body as the center. Under the coercion of this force, some dim black lines floating on the hall in the sky turned into powder and disappeared completely. Wufu. Zhu Yuan killed the Demon King? Xiao Yang said in surprise. It doesn't matter what the title is. Since you're here, come with me. I've done so much for Darkiangong, but it's really sad that I ended up like this. But now I only have one last wish in my life. If you two help me settle my regrets, all the opportunities here will be given here. If you lose, it seems that everyone present can't escape bad luck. The faint voice was filled with a calm and unhurried self-confidence, and this fluctuation might have surpassed the world. It seems that this trip to the Martial Palace does have a mystery. I just don't know what kind of grievance this guy has with Darkiangong. After speaking, several people left facing an illusory sky at the same time. As you step on the golden passage and go deeper into the sky, the more you can feel the ruins of this military mansion. Zhu Yuan waved his hand, and suddenly there were countless humming sounds in the empty sky in front of him. Immediately, endless red energy beams poured out, vaguely dragging a magnificent palace-like crystal. Show up. Looking up, the face in the crystal palace finally poured into Xiao Yang's line of sight at this very moment. There are not many things in the palace, except for some simple items such as chess, piano, calligraphy, and painting. The ground is extremely smooth, and countless sparkling precious crystals embellish the place very brightly, and on the ground, a beautiful crystal standing up, followed by a majestic sense of heaviness. Among the crystals, a woman in the shape of Yang Ting stood quietly in it. This is Lu Luan, the evil formation master wanted by Darkiangong. Looking at the woman in the square sleeping peacefully like an ice sculpture, Xiao Yang's pupils shrank slightly and suddenly lost his voice. It is said that there was a strange woman, Lu Luan, in the Great Thousand World. Although she was a woman, in just 1,000 years, she has reached the top of the Great Thousand World in terms of spiritual power and the accomplishments of Dou formation masters. But for some unknown reason, Lu Luan appeared in the human realm, and with the 440,000 Dao array pattern blessing, the All-Heaven Demon formation strangled dozens of planes in the human realm, and wiped out many tyrannical forces, thus being captured by the human realm. The Center and Darkiangong are jointly wanted. The whereabouts are still unknown. Xiao Yang was shocked. Could it be this? Suddenly, a somewhat shocking thought buzzed in Xiao Yang's mind. Her name is Lu Luan. She is my Zhu Yuan's wife and my eternal love. She is still alive. A faint voice sounded, but it exploded in the minds of Xiao Yang and Zuna. At this moment, Xiao Yang's eyes hovered over the ice sculpture and the illusory Zhu Yuan with a very serious look. Obviously it was extremely difficult to believe this scene. What exactly is going on? What you said is indeed true. Back then, when I went deep into the outer territory, mysterious ghost territory, what I did was to save her. However, in order to collect a mysterious thing called the core inscription of life, she went deep into the outside world by herself. In the end, although I killed the entire mysterious ghost family, she also fell into a state of exhaustion. Then he was rescued by Darkiangong Demon King, and he joined Darkiangong because of his kindness. Then the war between heaven and earth began. In order to repay the favor of Darkiangong, I accompanied many strong people in Darkiangong to fight on the battlefield, but I neglected that her body has been planted with the mysterious ghost mark by the strong people of the mysterious holy clan. I will wait until I know later. When she realized, she had already made a big mistake. In order to make up for the mistake, I once issued a military order to the great elder Tian Qian of Darkiangong, strangling the 3 red kings in exchange for her innocence, but now, it seems that Darkiangong has broken his promise. Zhu Yuan's voice was filled with a collapsing tone. Obviously, his strength has reached the realm of opening the mystery, but he can't protect the person he loves. Of all the tribulations in the world, I am afraid that there is no more tormenting person than such a catastrophe. Elder Darkiangong Tianqian has already died outside the realm. Perhaps this is a misunderstanding. Xiao Yang shook his head helplessly, and then explained that since Lung Luo Chen announced that he was also the Demon Slayer King, he naturally learned a lot from them about some news about Darkiangong. She was already killed? Zhu Yuan was a little surprised, his illusory body trembled slightly, as if he couldn't believe it. The tyrannical elders of the Great Thousand Palaces have all fallen? Her strength had reached the 7th level at the beginning. The younger generation knows that Darkiangong's information is incomplete, but after the First World War, Darkiangong and many top forces took the lead, and indeed lost countless demon executioners, and just now protected a Dakian world. So there may be negligence in intelligence information. Zuna smiled, she had more say in these things than Xiao Yang. After all, she had a huge intelligence network of this guy, Hun Tianhao. Oh, you little girl actually obtained the inheritance of the 9 profound Fire Lord. Hearing Zuna speak, Zhu Yuan's illusory body couldn't help but let out a long nostalgic sound. Zhu Xianhua Master is one of the peak powers in the Great Thousand World, but he has some connections with the Phoenix clan. That's all. Since this is a misunderstanding, this good fortune will be given to the 2 of you. Zhu Yuan opened his mouth faintly, his voice was full of relief. With his ability, even at the moment of his fall, he could easily detect the holy flame in Xiao Yang and Zuna, so there was no doubt about what the 2 said. Sheng Yang is the best proof. How can a guy who can be chosen by Sheng Yang be a vulgar person? According to my memory, among the Great Thousand Palaces, the Demon Slayer with the lowest strength also has the strength of the triple reincarnation level, but your strength is much weaker. As for my strength, when I fell, it was already a little bit closer to the 5th rank. It could be regarded as a middle-ranked existence among the Demon Kings. There was an earth-shattering scale. Among the foreign evil clan, the Red King rank, Gui Xian, he tried to destroy my Wufu, but I destroyed all the remaining power, and finally I fought back with the power of falling. Now that countless years have passed, I'm afraid this guy's strength has reached a higher level. Zhu Yuan said, his expression was extremely complicated. The First World War was the Red King rank, and now I'm afraid. Could it be the guy who was guarding outside the Wufu? Xiao Yang kept thinking. Get ready, the rest will naturally return to your hands when you wake her up. I have no complaints in my life, and in the end I have nothing else to ask for. I hope you will help me bring her back to the world safely, and I will not be able to live up to her admiration. The faint voice fell, and the last trace of Zhu Yuan's energy dissipated between heaven and earth, the mighty king of the Wufu, and wrapped Xiao Yang's body in the blink of an eye, sending the 2 to the ancient seed of attack in front of him. Boom! Just stepping into the Crystal Palace, there was a slight twitching sensation on the skin of the 2 of them, and on the originally flat and smooth ground, blocks of brilliant and colorful prismatic crystals suddenly appeared, and there seemed to be something in the crystals. The ancient and vast fluctuations are slowly spreading, and the pressure is no less than that of Zhu Yuan who just disappeared. Just as the crystal appeared, Xiao Yang's whole body shrank violently, his eyelids twitched unconsciously, as if he was facing a great enemy. The fluctuation of the pattern? While resisting the oppression of the mysterious power that pervaded these crystals, Xiao Yang cast his gaze and found that it was filled with an extremely mysterious rune power. If that kind of power were replaced by anyone else, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to detect it, but I am a battle formation master. The power surrounding these crystals is nothing but the formations formed by the inscriptions driven by spiritual power. Brother Xiao Yang. Zuna followed Xiao Yang's side, her body trembled slightly, the corners of her mouth turned purple, she said with some difficulty immediately. Take down the body. The core inscription of God's natal life. The blue light enveloped Zuna's body, the pressure gradually weakened, and then an ancient rune fell off from the Nigong Wn on Xiao Yang's body, and the light was brilliant, shining on this gorgeous crystal palace. The core inscription of Shundong's natal life just fell off, and it was suddenly out of Xiao Yang's control, and an unprecedented frenzy erupted, instantly heading towards the crystal statue in the center of the palace. When the core inscription of Shandong's life came to the crystal statue that sealed Luluan, a core force dripped down like a sauce and poured on it. At that time, the mist evaporated, as if something was slowly awakening, and the momentum was high. The majestic coercion made the two of them look extremely ugly. Boom! In an instant Xiao Yang didn't have time to think, and pushed Zuna away from here. Bang bang bang! Deafening voices filled the air, and those colorful crystal blocks surrounded Xiao Yang as if they were going crazy. Almost instantly, Xiao Yang was surrounded by water. The space was solidified, the air was mottled, blue veins burst out on Xiao Yang's face, his skin seemed to be shrunken by some mysterious force, and the severe pain was like acupuncture piercing his soul, causing Xiao Yang to have a splitting headache, and the pain was unbearable. The beating of the heart is so fast that it has almost surpassed the limits of human beings. The blood circulation in the body seems to have stopped flowing, and the breath of life is rapidly disappearing. The crystal cage shone brightly, absorbing all of Xiao Yang's power. Then Xiao Yang only felt that his mind was blank, as if all the power in his body had been deprived, and he could only see a beautiful figure with a pale face calling for something urgently. Very worried look. Then Xiao Yang's consciousness began to blur, and his entire body was completely submerged in the crystal cage. At the same time, the immortal flame that had been lurking in Xiao Yang's body flourished, and spread out instantly, protecting Xiao Yang's last trace of origin. But looking at this, Xiao Yang did not seem to be destroyed by its power, as if he was passed by a crystal cage. Test screening, brought in some mysterious places. Cici, where is this? I don't know how long it took. When Xiao Yang's body senses recovered, he rubbed his forehead with his palms, and then with a sleepy appearance, he opened his eyes with great difficulty, trying to see clearly the strange space in front of him, as well as his own. The situation, after all, he had just been twisted by the crystal cage and seemed to have entered a strange void somewhere. After swallowing a sip of saliva with difficulty, Xiao Yang's eyes became dull, looking at the void here in disbelief. The void where Xiao Yang is now is not a crystal palace in Wufu at all, but a vast darkness. In the night, the only thing that attracts attention is a rune that is completely pitch black in the sky. Above the runes are some extremely mysterious and incomprehensible fluctuations. Even if one looks at the peak strength of Xiao Yang's reincarnation, a heavy dizziness strikes. What part of the core inscription of Shandong's natal life is left? Suppressing the astonishment in his body, Xiao Yang said coldly. The fiery heat at the Nigong pill outside the body made Xiao Yang extremely crazy. With the pitch-black runes, Xiao Yang smelled an extremely peculiar smell, which was the fluctuation of the same origin of the core inscriptions of the divine movement. The devil formation of the heavens, cut off life and death. When Xiao Yang was rejoicing, a high-pitched light voice swept away like a tidal wave of energy, immediately centering on the black rune. Circles of black ink-like viscous liquid poured out, filling the world. The power of evil. How come? After confirming again and again that the pitch-black rune was the core part of the remaining divine movement, a shock suddenly came out of Xiao Yang's heart. Countless viscous liquids condensed into a dazzling sword body under Xiao Yang's gaze, straddling most of the void, and suppressing Xiao Yang. The pitch-black sword shadow moved the evil liquid Buddha all over its body, and it fell directly from the sky and shot towards Xiao Yang. The speed was indescribable. Even Xiao Yang couldn't see its trace clearly, and the phoenix faintly saw a black beam of light streak across the sky, and in a blink of an eye, it came to him. Holy flame! Xiao Yang felt the crisis approaching, his face was tense, and he shouted in an instant. 5 ancient holy flame runes floated out from the depths of his soul, lingering around one's body, which was extremely sacred and solemn. After the appearance of the 5 holy flame runes, that sacred and inviolable terrifying flame actually caused the sticky giant sword to suddenly stop moving, and instead the pitch-black runes entrenched in the sky began to shake violently. Erased. Xiao Yang's keen soul power and holy flame aura made Xiao Yang see the faint traces of resistance struggle in the dark rune in front of him. The black runes hummed, and the viscous demonic energy raged out, engulfing the world like a storm, trying to wipe out the last trace of power left on the dark runes. Immediately, the entire space began to collapse, with strong winds, lightning, and thunder. Holy mark, follow me to stifle evil. Xiao Yang's body was full of radiance, his soul power and Fen Ju were operating at the same time, and then he gritted his teeth, resisting the majestic evil demonic energy step by step, and walked away facing the pitch-black runes with difficulty. You must use the power of holy flame to clear all the evil forces that invaded the runes, otherwise you will not be able to touch it. And there is only this rune in this space. I am afraid that the rune has a certain connection with the special void. Ignoring the terrifying torment conveyed by the body, He raised his palm and, under the blessing of the 5 holy runes, grabbed it towards the pitch-black rune. I used to be too weak, so small that I couldn't hold a grain of sand tightly. Now that I have transformed, the world will tremble for me. No matter what kind of attack from the sticky demonic energy, Xiao Yan did not back down this time. Sticking to his heart, the immortal flames lingered out, and with the waving of the 5 holy patterns, the ancient vast waves swept through, and the waves were endless. The flames continued to overflow, swallowing up and purifying all the evil demonic energy in this special void. Today's Xiao Yang, just relying on the strength of Sheng Yang and the peak of the reincarnation rank, can basically kill the evil clan head-on against the first reincarnation rank. The young eagle has full wings, and the world will tremble for it. Tear it off. Under Xiao Yang's stubborn holy pattern baking, the sticky evil pattern outside the pitch-black runes first swayed, and it didn't last long before making a humming sound, and after a while, it suddenly exploded completely. At the same time, in the crystal palace in the center of the Wufu, the crystal blocks of the beautiful woman who was suppressed in the crystals instantly turned into countless powders, and a mouthful of dark poisonous blood was sprayed out. Xiao Yang's figure also left this inexplicable void, and then appeared in the crystal palace. Only this time, everything in the crystal palace was silent, and a red rune was slowly entrenched in front of the beautiful woman. Brother Xiao Yang. Zuna snorted coldly, the sweat on her forehead just faded away. Xiao Yang's bizarre disappearance just now made this girl anxious. I'm fine. I should have entered the core of this formation just now, but now everything is broken. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, his eyes slowly turned to the woman in the crystal palace. With extremely beautiful black hair, handsome silhouette and beautiful eyes, all the advantages mean that the woman in front of her is the beloved wife of Zhu Yuan, the head of the Wufu, Lu Luan. Yes, you saved me. Lu Luan seemed to have just woken up. He glanced aimlessly at the crystal palace, and a sense of familiarity and loss emerged. The sense of familiarity is naturally because this crystal palace is the palace of the past, and the loss is that there seems to be something important that has been forgotten. Junior Darqiangong Xiao Yang is here to fulfill his last wish for senior Zhu Yuan. Xiao Yang cupped his hands and said to Lu Luan, his voice was extremely gentle, while Zuna looked at this guy curiously. Her body's power fluctuations were rather dull, and it seemed that she was only at the rank of Dozian, but above the red runes floating in front of her, it seems to contain a touch of power that is incomprehensible to him. That kind of power is very similar to some of the powers in Brother Xiao Yang. Zhu Yuan. The hoarse voice sounded, and suddenly there was a hint of depth in Lu Luan's exquisite eyes, and then a stream of memories emerged like spring water, and memories that had been sealed in dust for countless years in his mind resurfaced. My name is Zhu Yuan. I will become one of the strongest in the world in the future, and I will protect you. I'm sorry, but I'm incompetent. The crystal Holy Spirit array can slow down the evil corrosion in your body. Only in this way can you live. Martial body. The mighty voice sounded. Zhu Yuan's figure stepped out one step at a time, and the majestic reincarnation power directly fought with the 2 red kings in the Wufu. In that battle, the world was in chaos, and the entire Wufu was beaten to pieces, but in the end, Zhu Yuan won, but he was also completely destroyed. Until the moment of his fall, he did not find a way to break the evil erosion. Lu Luan's memories flooded, and scenes of familiar images appeared in his mind. The handsome figure of Zhu Yuan, the former master of the martial arts mansion, continued to emerge, filling his pure and beautiful eyes with a hazy mist of water. Tears were dripping, and she whispered softly, "Forward." Zuna looked at this senior's appearance, and couldn't help but feel a little worried. After all, the latter had just woken up, and when she recalled the past, she accidentally became angry. I'm afraid, just wanted to persuade, but was pulled by Xiao Yang. Hold your palm and stop it. Xiao Yang shook his head. He knew Zuna's thoughts. After all, the two had no guesses, and they had a good heart, but Lu Luan had to walk on his own. Zhu Yuan, the master of Wufu, has passed away, and his body and spirit are all destroyed. The last remaining power is also dissipated in the world. If you want to revive this kind of power, I am afraid that in the world, only the angel family can come forward. At the same time, several hidden forces in the entire Crystal Palace actually became quiet, and these forces were like humble servants waiting for Lu Luan's orders. Thank you. After a long time, Lu Luan suddenly let out a sound of relief, raised his head and said to Xiao Yang, there was a hint of relief in his voice. Later, I will ask Senior to accompany us back to the Great Thousand World. This is outside the realm. If there is no special power, I am afraid that the Wufu has already been crushed. This is also something that Junior promised Senior Zhu Yuan. Xiao Yang shook his head. He was very attentive to what Zhu Yuan explained. However, there are still some doubts in my heart. Since Zhu Yuan, the master of the martial arts, has fallen, why does the Dark Yanggong still send people here? What is the purpose? And this Lu Luan, although his strength has not reached the level of samsara, but the fluctuations emanating from his body make even himself feel an inexplicable fear. No, I'm a sinner, and I'm returning to the great thousand world with no face. Everything Zhu Yuan has done is to atone for my sins. I just didn't expect it, but in the end it was the black-haired man who sent the white-haired man. After Lu Luan finished speaking, he raised his palm and dragged the ancient red rune, as if trying to communicate with him, and the red rune trembled violently in the next instant, and a majestic breath slanted out. Mental strength. There seems to be reluctance and nostalgia in it. Seeing how you both look so affectionate, I'll send you to wait for a good fortune. Don't worry, this is our own destination. Just after speaking, the red rune suddenly flew towards Xiao Yang. At the same time, another divine inscription in Xiao Yang's body also emerged. The two core inscriptions just appeared, which actually caused extremely strong spatial fluctuations, and even the two faced each other in the void at the same time, and vast ripples distorted the void. It was as if two glaring enemies were waiting in battle, and the coercion was extremely dignified. This core inscription is called Shendong. It happens to be of the same origin as the one in your body. The inscription of the divine movement is one of the oldest core inscriptions between heaven and earth. Destroyed by spiritual power, it can radiate a huge power, and it has a natural advantage in the formation. I can't imagine that I can still see it in my lifetime. Complete integration. Take the opportunity to absorb it. Here I should be able to help you break through the Imperial Division rank. Lu Luan smiled and said, as if he had his own idea in his heart, he twisted his palm lightly, and suddenly Xiao Yang only heard a tearing sound coming from Lu Luan's delicate body. With this sound, something seemed to be broken. Unilaterally cut off the binding of the core inscription, the tearing sound sounded, and then Lu Luan's face turned pale. Obviously, this method has already damaged her origin, but there is no regret on her face, more of a relief. It seems Iron the Heart wants to help Xiao Yang step into the Imperial Division. Senior, no. Although Xiao Yang said that he was warm-hearted, he hurriedly reprimanded when he saw Lu Luan's means. Cutting off the core inscription, this method is no different from peeling off the holy flame, and the backlash suffered is too huge. It doesn't matter anymore. Start absorbing. I'll answer your remaining questions after you've absorbed them. And the purpose of your trip should be more than that. At the end of the sentence, a deep meaning appeared on Lu Luan's pale face, as if he had anticipated their purpose. Emperor? Hearing Senior Lu Luan's repeated requests, Xiao Yang didn't want to make a fuss, but Xiao Yang was still a little surprised. Unexpectedly, under such a circumstance, he actually integrated the complete divine movement inscription, and more importantly, he was able to step into the top ranks of the battle formation. The training of Do formation masters is mainly based on the spiritual power of Ngongwen, combined with the core inscriptions to display formation patterns, incarnations of tens of thousands of elite soldiers and strong generals to help the battle. The fighting spirit in the formation is swirling, and the power is suffocating. Condensation pattern, formation, immortal master, celestial master, earth master, emperor master, holy master. In the past, Xiao Yang might have stayed at the level of an immortal master, and the continuous increase of his spiritual grinding wheel was enough to help him break through to a heavenly master. Now that the core inscriptions of the divine move are completely unified, he can directly attack the emperor. The emperor teacher is enough to use his own strength to condense hundreds of thousands of patterns, and cooperate with various powerful patterns to achieve the true control of everything. Lu Luan was able to deal with the evil clan outside the reincarnation realm with the strength of the 8 starfighting immortals. Xiao Yang's body floated in the air, each holding a divine inscription on his palms, and a powerful suction force slowly approached. However, Xiao Yang could clearly perceive that although these two divine inscriptions were two parts in a complete state, they were particularly hostile to each other. Not giving in an inch, each wanted to devour the other to strengthen itself. Only after they are fused can the real power of the divine inscriptions be revealed. If one of them is rashly swallowed up by the other, I am afraid that this inscription can only be invalidated. And the full version of the divine inscription will be the key to whether you can break through the Emperor. If you can't break through the Emperor's division, you still can't resist the semi-evil god-level powerhouses outside the Wufu. As for how to integrate, I can't help you either. You need to comprehend it yourself. A melodious ancient voice sounded from Lu Luan's mouth guiding Xiao Yang's next actions. Okay. Xiao Yang heard the words, stuck to his heart, and then his spiritual power transformed into an invisible spiritual ocean that enveloped him. He held 2 inscriptions in his hand and carefully sensed the connection between them. Little girl, this is for you. He has more powerful bodyforging fighting skills than the master of Wufu, and this thing is of little use to him. While Xiao Yang was concentrating on the fusion of the 2 inscriptions, Lu Luan suddenly whispered to Zunna's side, then stretched out his slender hand, and an ancient scroll full of golden light emerged. But when Zunna saw this, Dai's eyes were slightly wrinkled, obviously hesitant. His potential is one of the strongest people I have ever seen in my life, and maybe his future achievements will stand at the peak of this world. You shouldn't be willing to stand behind him, right? Lu Luan naturally could see the pride hidden under Zunna's tenderness, and spoke quietly. Although the inheritance of the master of the Wufu is precious, it is not suitable for Xiao Yang, and it will restrict Xiao Yang. Thank you, senior. Zunna nibbled her silver teeth lightly, then stretched out her palm and slowly took over the scroll. The pride in her heart couldn't help but grow stronger. This video will end here.